Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Lightning Storm, the series where lightning always strikes twice, as we talk about everything that has happened in the past week for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. And what a week it has been for sure. We have a ton of stuff to discuss today here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the least exciting things that are still pretty exciting before we get into what I know everyone is here for today. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. So last week we had talked about Hasbro Pulse sending out those emails stating that the Zeo Cogs were going to be shipping here pretty soon from the Hasbro Pulse US site, after previously coming out a couple weeks ago on Hasbro Pulse UK, and it definitely happened. So this past Monday, people started to get charged for the Cogs on Hasbro Pulse, and they started to ship out here. So really cool. People have been getting them here left and right, so they actually are finally released, and are now the 9th and 10th figures to come out in the US for 2021. So this is really great. I'm really happy that something in the pre-order stage has finally made it out to all of the customers and fans who bought it. So you can actually still get it on Hasbro Pulse right now. It's still in stock. If you did not get your hands on it, you can go ahead and get your hands on at least two, or if you want more, make different accounts, I guess, and order more if you want to really true build it. One of them got delivered at my house a couple days ago, and I have two more arriving right after I record this video, which I'm recording this yesterday on Friday. But I'm going home this weekend to get my Cogs and the next thing we're going to talk about. So you'll probably see a video on those, I think, tomorrow, if I timed that all correctly. So look forward to that, and I'll leave a link in the description below for you to pick up your own. So Zeo Cogs are out. Speaking of figures releasing this week, we actually have a pretty good amount of A-Squad information to talk about here. So last week we had talked about A-Squad Yellow releasing at the store Robo in Singapore. Facebook user Rishi Bishi Mabushi posting all the pictures of A-Squad Yellow and everything for us to see. Well, thanks to the store The Falcon's Hainer, which might be familiar to you on Lightning Storm here, they are the store that the In-Space Silver listing that we found back in July leaked from. Well, they actually got A-Squad Green in stock this week, so we got another batch of photos for A-Squad Green on Facebook and everything, both him on his own and also posed very nicely with the yellow and blue that were released in Singapore already. So A-Squad Green, which is a Best Buy exclusive here in the US, is out at least in Singapore, and hopefully we see it over here soon-ish. But in other news, the US has gotten their own A-Squad released that is different from the ones in Singapore. So we're getting the team slowly but surely here. And that is because earlier this week, out of nowhere, Dorkside Toys in the US actually posted A-Squad Red as in stock. This has happened before, Dorkside Toys getting figures early. And in fact, I think I saw Yakface post the other day about getting some new Rogue One figure from the Black Series in pretty early from Dorkside, so it has happened before. They, I believe, were also the first online retailer to stock Wave 9 back in June. So yeah, A-Squad Red went up out of nowhere. I ordered one from there, and probably should cancel my Pulse one now that I think of it. And a bunch of other people ordered it. Then the link went down. When you clicked on it, it led to a 404 error, and that seemed to be the end of it, and then it came back and it went back down again. Right now it says out of stock at the time that I'm recording this. I literally just checked here on the laptop here, but yeah, doesn't look to be in stock right now, but I will leave the link in the description below for you guys to check that out if you would like to try to get your hands on A-Squad Red here. Technically, at the time of me recording this, I haven't seen anybody's arrive to confirm that it actually was A-Squad Red. But mine is out for delivery at the time I'm recording this, so I would have posted pictures of it on Twitter by this point, and some people might have already gotten there, so that will be included in the video with the Cogs if that all goes the way that I want it to go. But yeah, A-Squad Red seems to be out in the US, kinda, just from one place, and then A-Squad Green and Yellow out in Singapore, and then A-Squad Pink is just MIA right now. So who knows where she'll show up first, if it'll be Singapore or the US. Will it tie 2 for 2? Who knows? But A-Squad is finally trickling out. Next up this week is going to be a bit of a follow-up from the emergency episode of Lightning Storm I posted this past Wednesday. So if you didn't see that already or you didn't know what happened with that, there was a surprise reveal in the middle of this past week, and that was for the Target exclusive Lightning Collection Ninja Ranger or Ninjetti, whichever one you want to call it, Ninja White and Ninja Pink. So I'm not going to talk about these too long because I did cover them already in 2 videos back when they first leaked and then when they got revealed. So there's not really anything to say about them themselves, but I do have a little bit of updates about their codes that I want to discuss here today. So if you remember back in April, we had those listings from Uncaged Otaku from the Target system. There was 5 listings. There was the disguised ZTH Jupiter, which we know is the upcoming Andros figure that's going to be released at Target. And then we had those 4 mystery ones, the Lance, Trebuchet, Catapult, and Joust figures. And now we actually know that those ended up being the Ninja Rangers. So huge shout out to John Green over from GreenRanger.com who pointed this out to me because, to be honest, I had completely forgotten about those listings. I just literally forgot. But those were priced at $24.99, and that's what all the Ninja Rangers were, and I should have made that connection earlier, but I just somehow didn't. And the way that he was able to make the connection was because of the DPCI numbers. They match up between those listings and then what you can see on the Target website for their DPCIs or DCPIs, whatever it is. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, if you're curious, I'll go ahead and say which one was which. So Trebuchet ended up being Ninja Black, Catapult was Ninja Blue, Lance was Ninja White, and Joust was Ninja Pink. So now the mystery of those listings has been solved. They were Lightning Collection all along, so we were right to speculate that they probably might have been. And they were. So, interestingly though, that does clear those listings from April, and there was not 6 of those, there was 4 of those, and the reason why I say that is because we are still missing Ninja Red and Ninja Yellow. Which brings us to this. So this poster that's been hanging up here for the last couple of weeks obviously has a very clear prominence of white, pink, blue, and black in the front, with red and yellow in the back. So I'm assuming that poster was done up in that style, because we aren't getting red and yellow anytime soon? Maybe? I mean, we don't have listings for them at this point now. So I don't know if maybe we'll see those at PulseCon next month. That is always a possibility. Or they'll be like metallic white and they'll just take a long time. But who knows? I kind of thought that ever since I saw the poster of them in the back, because they're like very far in the back. I don't even know if you can see them from this angle. I mean, obviously I'm going to put the poster up here more clearly, but I don't think you can even see them at this angle. They're that far behind everyone else. So maybe that was an indication. But also by the indication, white and pink should have been announced a long time ago because they're the most prominent in the foreground here. So yeah, talked way too much about this already. So Ninja Rangers, I think unfortunately they are sold out on pre-orders on both Target and Pulse at this point, I believe. But I will go ahead and copy and paste those links down there again in the description from Wednesday's video. So you want to check them, maybe they'll come back at some point. But yeah, that was it. And yeah, I think that was everything we needed to talk about this week on Lightning Storm. I don't think there was anything else. Alright, here we go. I don't know how long this segment's going to take, but it's definitely going to be a long one. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it here. So if you follow me on Twitter, which you should, or on Instagram, I also posted it there as well, but Twitter is where I really did the main thing. You saw probably that on both Wednesday night and Thursday night, I posted a series of pictures for, a lot of stuff. So, just a little tease of what's to come for the Lightning Collection. So I don't even know where to begin. So basically, so I know people have been asking me, where do these come from? What's your source, everything. I would hope that my track record would precede me at this point, and in terms of people believing what I post. And for the most part, it seems like it is, so that's good. Because obviously, this isn't like a wish list of mine or anything like that. I wouldn't post that on my Lightning account, because then people would think that I was hinting at things. Which this time I was. So basically, these come from a distributor website. So I'm not going to name which site because sources are always getting taken down all over the place, so that's why I'm not going to name it. But it is reliable, I promise you that. So let's go ahead and dive into what I started with. We'll just go in chronological order in terms of what I posted on Wednesday night and then what I posted on Thursday night, because there's a reason why it was 2 different nights. and I'll get into that here. So yes, the rows here are all waves, since they are 4 figures, 3 groups of 4 figures here. Now, technically, these should be waves 11, 12, and 13. The reason why I'm not going to come out and outright say that they are is because things have changed in the past before when we've gotten listings from distributor links. I did a video about this probably at least I think a year ago at this point, about waves 6 and 7, how those got all swapped around. Since we got the listings for those so far in advance, they didn't end up panning out exactly how we had seen they might. But obviously, since this is going to be so far out, especially because of the product delays or the shipping delays, we might not get any of this stuff for 6 months to a year at the least, maybe even pushing it into 2023 if the delays really get bad. So get excited for this stuff, but know that it's gonna be a long time. Don't expect this stuff. I expect some of it to pop up at PulseCon next month, but don't expect any of it to come out anytime soon. I don't think. But yeah, so I keep dodging it. But yeah, basically for the time being, let's call it waves 1, 2, and 3 of 2022/23 if it bleeds over to that. So first of all, here the first picture that I posted, Coolio here. We're going to be getting him. So this makes a lot of sense. I mean, Beast Morphers happened during Beast Morphers, but that actually happened during Beast Morphers Season 1, a little bit of Season 2. And I think that ended up actually hurting the Beast Morphers Lightning Collection figures in the long run, because those were always the ones that were clearanced. You could still find Beast Morphers Blue for like $8 these days, and people just didn't really seem to want them at the time. And I think that's because the basic figures for Beast Morphers were on the shelf at the same time. So especially parents, if you're going in the store and you see the red Beast Morphers Ranger at the $10 price point and the $20 price point, you're probably going to get the $10 one. So I think the idea behind waiting until at least Season 2 airing to do Dino Fury is the fact that you can still cash in on the fact that Dino Fury is the current season, but by this point we should have whatever we're going to call Max Russell Red on the shelves in the basic line and stuff like that. So this is a good time to do it. So we're starting with Zeto here for what is the first wave that I'm talking about here. And then after that, next up we have Wild Force Silver. So Wild Force Silver here is going to be our first member of the Wild Force team. Brand new season we're going to be starting in the Lightning Collection. It's been a long time since we started a brand new season. I can't even think of what that was at this point. Maybe, was that Time Force maybe? Or In Space in Wave 6 I think was the last time we started a season, I think. But yeah, so we're going to be getting him here, and Wild Force is a continuing theme through all the stuff that we're going to talk about here today. And so people are wondering, I saw people on Twitter why Wild Force out of nowhere? Well, you got to remember that the stuff is going to be primarily, or at least scheduled to primarily be during 2022, which will be Power Ranger Wild Force's 20th anniversary. So that is a pretty good time for me. I don't know if that's specifically why they're doing it, but it does line up pretty well, so I'd have to imagine probably. And then moving on from there, we have Dino Charge Pink. So this one makes sense here. Dino Charge has kind of made a resurgence in the Lightning Collection recently with Riley coming in Wave 10. We already know that that's happening. So it makes sense to get Shelby here finally. Get the female mold out there for Dino Charge so we can use it again, hopefully later on for Kendall, because I know a lot of people would really want her, me included, of course. But yeah, so Shelby is a great addition here. You get 2 dinos. I think you get 2 dinos per wave here, which is kind of interesting when you look at it like that. And yeah, that's our Dino Charge representative for this wave. And then finally, so I'm going to have to talk about this, probably not really the most, but explain it a little bit for all 3 of these waves. Most people caught on to what I was trying to say with it, and I'm really glad that was the case. So each of these waves, I posted one picture that has a question mark over it. And that's because each wave that I got information about has a very vague listing for a 4th figure. The order, the particular order doesn't matter. But yeah, every wave had at least one figure that I can't outright confirm what it is because it is just too vague. And that, for this wave, is the last picture here, which I posted just a general picture of the Machine Empire with a question mark over it, because the listing that I've seen for this wave is Zeo Villain. So I genuinely do not know what villain it is. I'm hoping it's not just like a single pack cog, though that would not be very surprising if Hasbro pulled that move. I've been seeing people hope that it's Mondo. I want it to be Mondo, or a Gasket, or Sprocket, or Chirina, Orbis and Clank would be cool. You know, like I genuinely don't know what this will be. So there's not really much to say about it, but except for the fact that we should be getting a Zeo villain of some kind. So who knows which one this will actually be for this wave. So that's our first question mark figure to talk about here, and that's what the picture was referring to. So let's move on to the next wave. So kicking off the second wave of listings here, we have Lost Galaxy Green. You know, we've had Leo, we've had Kai, so we have that body mold out there. Obviously, it was going to be used for Damon at some point here. It's not, I mean, of course, re-releases aside, this is like the last main time that they can use that body mold that's been around for 2 years for the Lost Galaxy Male Rangers, so of course this makes sense. So who knows if he'll have the Quasar Launcher or the Trans Dagger, because Kai and Leo were not consistent with that, so I would like for him to have both, but I'm not expecting it. But yeah, I mean, Damon is a welcome addition here, but like nothing too shocking, just, you know, based on what Hasbro would reuse and everything like that. Which is kind of the case for the next one as well, which is Wild Force Blue. Since we know we're going to be getting Merrick in the wave prior, and for something we're going to talk about later, they're going to get some use out of this new Wild Force mold that they're going to be making as well. So we're going to be getting Max, the Wild Force Blue Ranger, so pretty cool. I like, you know, furthering, you know, especially since we're about to start a new team and we're already going to get at least 2 of the members with a third one later. I like that we're going to have like basically half of the Wild Force team completed, hopefully, if everything comes out when it's supposed to, during the 20th anniversary. So good timing on that front. Next up, we have one of my most anticipated figures, probably my most anticipated one for this wave, Dino Thunder Yellow. We're finally going to be getting Kira, although don't call her that. But you're going to finally get Dino Thunder Yellow in wave maybe 12, if that's what this is. And this will complete our core trio of Dino Thunder Rangers. Of course, when you add it with Trent, we're just missing Tommy, which is pretty shocking that Tommy, Dino Thunder Black, will be our last of the Dino Thunder team to come out. I'm assuming that they're saving it because it is such a popular version of Tommy. It's my favorite version of Tommy, personally. Love Dr. O, so I can't wait to get that. Also, Dino Thunder is my favorite season, so completing this team is really important to me. So getting Kira is fantastic, and I'm really happy we're going to be able to complete at least the main trio with Trent in 2022, hopefully. And I'm sure Tommy wouldn't be too far behind. We don't have listings for him yet, but I'm sure he'll happen sooner rather than later. And that brings us to the second question mark post for this wave. And this one is a little bit more open-ended. It's also the one that is the most narrowed down. Like, we had Zeo Villain in the last wave. We're going to have something very similar to that in the next wave. This one, the listing I saw was Mighty Morphin Black. But I don't know what version of Mighty Morphin Black. Now, you're probably thinking, well, we already have three versions of Mighty Morphin Black. The armored one, the regular one, and the metallic one. What else is left? Well, this could be a number of different things. It could be literally a straight-up re-release of the Wave 6 one, kind of like we had with Mighty Morphin White getting re-released or restocked as part of Wave 7. We could have a situation like that again. It could be just the same figure from Wave 6, but with an Atom head. I've seen people speculating that I could see that happening as well, especially since they have been re-releasing like Mighty Morphin Yellow and Pink with like their secondary, occupants of the powers. So I could definitely see that happening. Personally, my hope, and I genuinely don't know what version of Mighty Morphin Black this is going to be. I'm hoping for the Defender Vest version from Operation Overdrive. I really like that look of the suit. It's also a good excuse to give us an Atom. I mean, we're getting an Atom head with the metallic release, but like it's a good way to give him like his own dedicated Mighty Morphin Black, where it's, only a version that he had, which metallic is too, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, this is cool. Maybe if it's actually a version that is, like a new version. If it's just the same figure again with an Atom head, whatever, I get it. Now moving on to the best wave of the entire Lightning Collection. I mean, come on now. This third wave, which could be Wave 13, absolutely incredible. Like, this is insane. This wave is like, if I didn't have the reputation for posting things, like, I wouldn't even believe it because of all the crazy pics that are in this wave. So, first of all, Dino Charge Blue, one of the ones that I've wanted for the longest time. I absolutely love Coda. Personally, I guess it doesn't destroy my hopes, but I've always wanted Coda to come with Preston and a Ninja Steel Dino Charge Blue 2-pack, and this kind of breaks that idea. Not that it could never happen somehow down the line. But regardless, I want a Coda figure. Yoshi Sudarso, awesome guy. Love to finally get a figure of him here in the Lightning Collection, and it completes our Core 6 Dino Charge Rangers when you add him with Shelby from two waves of listings prior ago. So this is fantastic. I really like him being here, but he's not even like the hypest thing in this wave. Next up, Beast Morphers Yellow. We are finally going to be getting Zoe 2 years after we probably should have, to complete the core team of the Beast Morphers Rangers, or the core trio, which means now we just need Steel. We just need Steel to complete him. Unfortunately, we don't have any listings for him, but we'll take what we can get with Beast Morphers. It's been a long time coming to get at least somebody of the final two. I want Roxy and everything, but at least give me the final two. And we're going to finally be getting Zoe here in this third wave of listings. So I know a lot of people are really excited about that. I know people have even joked that it's like the SH Figure Arts Kiva situation, but for Lightning Collection, of how long it's taking for us to get a Zoe figure. But it looks like we're finally going to be able to break that curse, I suppose, and get a Zoe figure. Next up, we have a very hyped one, I'm sure, especially after recent international episode airings, and that is Izzy from Dino Fury. So this is a really, really cool one. I love this one a lot that we're going to be getting. It also makes sense, following Zato 2 waves ago. Even though we do have that one wave in the middle with no Dino Fury, at least right now, unless things change or something. So this will be nice too, because this will introduce the female mold for the Dino Fury Rangers into the Lightning Collection. So we could probably get Amelia probably not too long after that, maybe, hopefully. Hopefully it's not like a Zoe situation and it takes us into 2024 to do that. But yeah, Izzy will be a great addition here. Interestingly enough, before I posted this listing the other night, Tessa, her actress, was on Ranger Liz's 28th Power Rangers whatever anniversary day thing live stream a couple weeks ago, where she actually mentioned that she had gotten her head scanned for action figures, which the only thing that would be the Lightning Collection. So I guess kind of leaked before, but you could kind of assume that the current cast members ever since Beast Morphers would get their heads scanned for, I don't know specifically just for Lightning Collection, but you would think that would be something that they would do now, especially for the new actors. So that doesn't surprise me, but it is cool to kind of hear that and then see some evidence of that actually coming to fruition pretty soon. And then finally here for the final mystery figure, the final question mark one for the final main wave we're going to be talking about today. And that is Wild Force Villain. So I didn't really know what to put for this. The Machine Empire was a better one where I could just put that general establishing shot of the row house gadgetry thing. But this one I didn't exactly know who to put, so I just kind of found a group of orgs standing together and put a question mark over it, because I'm like, that will get the point across, and people got the point, so that's good. So yeah, the listing just says Wild Force Villain. I don't know who. I don't know if it's going to be Master Org, or if it's going to be Gingerax or Toxica. I'm hoping for Zenaku. Really, really want Zenaku, especially if we're going to be getting Merrick two waves prior. I think that would really work. In fact, with Dino Fury and possibly Zenaku, this third wave complements the first wave really well. So you have that middle wave that's just kind of there. Not that it's a bad wave or anything, but this first and third waves match up pretty nicely with each other. So I'm hoping for Zenaku. I'm hoping to find more evidence of who it is. But just know, a Zeo villain is coming, a Wild Force villain is coming, and some version of MMPR Black are coming, but I don't know which versions those are. Everything else just said Dino Charge Blue, Dino Fury Green, stuff that was just okay, but I can just post a picture of that and people will get the point. So yeah, that was for the main three upcoming waves, which like I said, should be, very well probably are, waves 11, 12, and 13. But like I've said before, things have changed in the past. I would say 11 is probably the most locked in, since that should be next, with 13 possibly being, maybe not as locked in, who knows. But just stay tuned, I'll give you updates on this and everything, and maybe, I'm thinking that the earliest time we can see the next wave, wave 11, whether it's one of these three waves or who knows, probably maybe PulseCon. That's the earliest I could see them announcing the next wave. So we'll just have to wait and see if that actually ends up happening, because if it is, we're only a month away from that, so who knows. Alright, the final batch of the things that I posted on Wednesday night is for something else, which people also caught on to what I was saying with this one. So I posted 3 more pictures, but I attached a plus vehicle emoji to the tweet, and I think to the picture as well. And so what these are is we kind of already knew that this was going to happen in some capacity. We've already seen a precedent set for this, and that was the SPD Omega Ranger and Uniforce cycle that we got in 2020. So we've already seen a Ranger plus vehicle combination before, and if you remember back at Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest back in April, the host, Jackie, she answered one of the questions from the Hasbro team, or like she relayed the information from the Hasbro team about if we were going to get more vehicles.
Do you have any more plans for vehicle sets in the future similar to the SPD Omega Ranger and the Uniforce cycle? Okay, Eric. The Power Rangers team is working on some very cool new additions to the Lightning Collection line that they think you will be very pleased about. 2022 is gonna be the time for Power Rangers to rocket to the top.
Now, I don't exactly know like what these are going to cost, when they're going to come out. I assume, based off of the retailer that these come from or the distributor that these come from, that these should be like just retail releases, if not fan channels, but at least retail. Kind of like how the Versus packs and the Monsters are retail. I expect these to like also be like that as well. But who knows, maybe I'm wrong. But the first one here we have is Wild Force Red with some vehicle. And the reason why I didn't just post a picture of the vehicle is because I don't know what the vehicle is. I literally just saw Wild Force Red plus vehicle. In Space Blue plus vehicle, stuff like that. So, I mean, you can kind of take a guess. A lot of these Rangers here really only have like one or two options for it to be. But I didn't want to go ahead and just post like a vehicle of like the Wild Force Rider and be like, and then have everyone go, it's the Wild Force Rider, and then it ends up being the Savage cycle. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure, so I didn't post it. So, yeah, I'm assuming it has to be one of the two cycles from Wild Force. I'm leaning more towards the Wild Force Rider because of the fact that it had its, significance of destroying Serpentera in Forever Red. So, like, that kind of makes the more sense to me. But what's more amazing to me is the fact that we will be getting Wild Force Red. I know that's finally that answers the question of will they do Wild Force Red or Ninja Storm Red, based because of the controversies behind their actors who play the characters. I've never thought that what the actors have done would prevent the two Rangers from getting figures, but I'm still relatively hesitant on if they would do a Cole head with him or if they ever did Ninja Storm Red, do a Shane head with him. I hope there's a Cole head here. I would understand why there isn't. I could maybe see them trying to dodge it by not including it because you're getting a whole vehicle, and then be like, well, the price of the cost went into making the vehicle instead of maybe they'll take that, that way out, that loophole, or maybe they'll just include one. So, but yeah, people should finally, that finally answers the question if they're ever going to do those two. Yeah, they're going to do at least one of them here. And that will also give us half of the Wild Force team completed, hopefully, in 2022 for the 20th anniversary. So that's great. I mean, we started it, and here we are, like halfway done. Next up is the one that is kind of that has brought up the most discussion, and that is In Space Blue plus vehicle. Now, I know what people were saying, like, what vehicle would it be from In Space? The only thing I can think of is the Galaxy Gliders. I mean, that makes the most sense to me in terms of what he could come with. I know someone posted a picture, and this was hilarious. There was an old Bandai toy, apparently, of, like, In Space Blue with, I think, like, an repainted, I think Zane had a cycle or something repainted with him. And I guess that actually did come out in the Bandai toy line, so that'd be kind of hilarious. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a Galaxy Glider. People are also asking me, am I sure it's In Space Blue and not In Space Silver plus vehicle? The listing says In Space Blue. Also, we are getting In Space Silver already in a store exclusive release here pretty soon. We've had that listing leaked since July, so we know Zane is coming. A lot of people didn't seem to remember that or even know that it was happening, so I just wanted to say that again, that Zane is coming. We have a listing for him, to complete the core team, or the whole team. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's interesting and it's a valid thing to ask, especially because, this is a TJ duplicate already when the first one hasn't even released yet. If this actually is the case, I saw George bring up a really good point. What if this is kind of a Phantom Ranger situation where like it's Blue Centurion since he's a Blue Ranger coded as In Space, and it could be like him in his cycle, which that's a very interesting point. I didn't even consider that. I don't think that they would lean that way, especially because Phantom had like his own code, and you would think that if they were going to do that kind of like color thing, then he would have been labeled under the Black Ranger code when he wasn't. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the case is with that. I just know In Space Blue was what I saw on the listing, and that's what I'm going to go with right now. But this is definitely the one that has the least amount of information out there, so we'll just we'll see what happens with it. And then finally, Time Force is going to finally be picked back up again. It's been at the time that this will probably come out, it will have been over 2 years since we got the last Time Force Ranger back in Wave 5 with Wes, and that is going to be Trip. Definitely not the one I expected to happen next. Definitely not the one people wanted next. I wanted Eric next. Everyone in the world wants Jen next, and I want Jen as well. But we're going to get Trip, I guess. So Trip with a vehicle, which I have to assume would be the Vector Cycles, which are probably like some of my all-time favorite cycles from Power Rangers, so I hope it's one of those. Weird to get his, because then like we don't have Reds, and then it's like, are they going to re-release Red with the Vector Cycle, or is this how we're going to get like Lucas later on, Katie, and maybe Jen, stuff like that. But yeah, we should be getting at least Trip here with a vehicle. People also said maybe it's the Time Jet. Could be the Time Jet as well, possibly, if they didn't want to commit to doing the Vector Cycles, because that's another thing. It's like once you do a vehicle here, especially for like the Galaxy Gliders or the Vector Cycles, you're kind of committing to a whole team of cycles, kind of, or at least you have expectations for people, or from people, to do the other cycles of the team. That's why, like, if you go with like the Wild Force Rider for Cole, he's the only one who had the Wild Force Rider, but if you go with the Savage Cycle, they all had one. So like, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with that. Besides the Rangers here, these ones were kind of vague, just plus vehicle. So that's all I can really say on them. And that was the end of the first night of Lightning Collection leaks that I posted. But there was more. So that was supposed to be it. That was genuinely supposed to be everything. At least I thought when I saw all of the listings on the distributor website, I thought that was going to be the end of it. It wasn't the end of it. So on Thursday night, I had one of my sources reach out to me and tell me a couple of pieces of information that I am now relaying to you, or on Twitter, and now here in the video. And these are there's one figure here, and then there's a couple roleplay items we're going to talk about here. So if you don't care about the roleplay stuff, this is not going to really be as much as for you as the figures are. But we do have one figure, and that is what I assume will be a fan channel exclusive release. I think, probably. And that should be a figure of Red Ecliptor. I heard that this should be coming in sometime around March of 2022. At least that's what it's slated for, which is odd, because if that ends up actually panning out, we'll have Red Ecliptor in March before we get regular Ecliptor in April. So something tells me that March date either won't hold true, or the 2-pack will come out earlier than March like it was probably supposed to, and we'll get the regular Ecliptor first. But Red Ecliptor should be coming, from what I was told. This is not very surprising either, especially because Hasbro loves to reuse their molds, and once you establish that really awesome, fantastic looking Ecliptor mold with the 2-pack, of course they're going to repaint it into a Red Ecliptor. How easy is that, But I am also, as far as I'm aware, there should be just a standalone Red Ecliptor. They're not selling them again in a 2-pack with like another version of Astronema or something, which honestly I'm kind of surprised by. There should just be a standalone Ecliptor that I assume is a fan channel exclusive. So, and that was another thing. Everything except for this, and a couple things I guess here, like all the things I just talked about before, should all be retail release stuff. I don't know anything about exclusives for 2022. I haven't seen any, listings for any of that. I haven't had any sources reach out about, stuff for 2022 in terms of exclusives. So just remember that, because exclusives make up over half of the Lightning Collection so far, especially like in a year like 2021. And I don't know what any of them are. So this is going to be crazy, guys. So that's going to be really fun. But yeah, so Red Ecliptor, that is coming. We have a couple roleplay items. We have 2 helmets coming, which we do have a listing for our helmets. We had a listing back on the list of listings 3.0 back in May for some kind of MMPR helmet, which this could literally be for either of these. It's going to be one of them. I just don't know which one. I have a hunch about which one it is. But we have that listing, so we didn't know what Mighty Morphin Ranger helmet, or if it's going to be a Ranger, what Mighty Morphin helmet it was going to be. But I have heard from a source 2 different helmets that are coming. So first of all, they're both Lords, interestingly enough. We're going to be getting a Lord Zedd helmet, so in the Lightning Collection. And I think that this is the one that's coming first. And I believe this one should be coming out, or at least slated to come out in the spring. And then I would assume that the other one is like the summer or the typical summer/fall release one that we've had the last 3 years. So we should be getting a Lord Zedd helmet around the same time we get the Ready Cliptor figure. So like all the other helmets, they'll probably be fan channel exclusive. I mean, well, pink was a GameStop exclusive, but based off of where the source is from, I'm assuming this will be a fan channel exclusive helmet for Lord Zedd. And since this is the one that I heard with an actual date attached to it, I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's the identity of that listing from May, because we have another one, and that is a Lord Draken helmet. So these are two separate helmets. We are getting a Zedd and a Draken. So we're going to be getting a Lord Draken helmet as well. Not very surprising in terms of picks. Lord Zedd is a weird one. Not one I would have ever considered to get a helmet for, but I mean, it's cool. I think it's a really cool idea, but like, just wasn't expecting to, own Zedd's head, so whatever. But Lord Draken is definitely one that I've wanted them to do for a very long time. I love the Draken suit, not even just the helmet, but I also love whenever they do anything from the comics. It's, they're really holding out time before they get around to doing Mighty Morphin Green. I'm sure they're just waiting for the right moment, because I'm sure they're going to do it at some point. But yeah, Lord Draken helmet and Lord Zedd helmet coming probably within the next year or so. We have one more roleplay item to talk about here, and this is a repeat from the Bandai Legacy line, which I know a lot of people don't really like when they do that, but it's inevitable that they're going to have a little bit of crossover, occasionally, and that is going to be a replica power sword. So this is the first time we have a listing for a roleplay item that's like a full-on weapon since the Dragon Dagger. We haven't had that in a while. So they are going to be doing a power sword. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but I would have to imagine it's going to be very expensive. The Legacy version was $150, if I remember correctly. And so this one kind of makes me think of like when they do like the full-sized Black Series lightsabers, and I think those are like $200 or something. So I would expect the power sword to be very, very expensive as well. Who knows like what features they'll add to it to be different from the Bandai one. But yes, expect a replica power sword for the Lightning Collection coming as well. And after that, there's just one more thing to talk about here. So if you remember a couple weeks ago on Lightning Storm, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had talked about the rumor report that Jay Cochran posted about the upcoming Lightning Collection Dragon Zord that was going to cost over $100 and release in 2022. Now, first of all, I can go ahead and just say this. I can back up that claim. So I can back up the claim that there will be a Dragon Zord. I've seen evidence of it myself now after his report. But I've also seen something to add on to his report that he has not reported on, and I kind of wish he would have reported on it first because I believe it's coming out first, and that is him, if I'm pointing at it correctly, and there's traffic outside. That's right, this guy right here, joining the Lightning Collection, not surprising, but this will go very nicely with the Dragons that they're planning for next year as well. I don't have any details necessarily about what to expect with this, except for the fact, very, very pricey. Save your money for this. Basically, more expensive than Legacy, less expensive than Soul of Shogoken. And so I'm expecting it to, that's what the price point is of it. And I'm expecting for it to be somewhere in terms of like in between, not only, the prices, but also in between in terms of quality. So I'm hoping for a very nicely articulated one. Since we're getting both of them, I assume that they can combine. I don't know if they can. People were asking, is this HasLab? It is not HasLab. But interestingly enough, it will cost, or at least the Megazord will cost more than the Star Saber Transformers HasLab that is up there right now. So that's all I'll say on that front. But it is not a HasLab Megazord. So Jay said Dragon Zord was going to cost over $100, and he's right. And Megazord cost, yes. But yeah, the Megazord is not going to be cheap either. It's going to be more, especially because it can hopefully separate into the 5 Zords and everything, and I'm hoping it'll be pretty articulated. But I don't know the size. I would love for this to be like a 6-inch figure. Not for the cost though, but I would love for this to be like a 6-inch figure to like scale with the monster line, which I guess would be an 8-inch figure. I don't have any details about like that or anything like that, but just know, especially if you really wanted a Hasbro Lightning Collection version of the Megazords, you're going to be paying for it, that's for sure. So be sure to save your money for that. For any of this stuff, especially because, the 2 helmets are going to be expensive, the Power Sword's going to be expensive, the Megazords are going to be expensive, and I dropped, 16 figures? That's very expensive as well. So if you want all this, start saving now, which is part of the reason why I leak this stuff in the first place when I hear about it, because Hasbro, they're going to announce this stuff shipping delays aside, they'll announce the stuff sometimes like a month prior to when it actually comes out, and then you're like, oh crap, I need money. So just start saving now if any of this sounded interesting to you. Like I said before, a lot of it is probably a very long time away, especially with the shipping delays that we're having right now. Hasbro might be hesitant on announcing stuff as often as they might have done, otherwise, because of everything like that. But everything I've seen here should be 2022, maybe bleeding over into 2023 if delays still happen, or just if that's what their plans were. But that's it. So I'll go ahead and close the laptop. That is it, guys, for this week's episode of Lightning Storm. I've recorded 50 minutes of footage for this episode. It's going to be a monster. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I can't wait to read your guys' comments down below. And that's all I have. So very long one. I've talked for a very long time. And I'm going to go edit it now so you guys can see it tomorrow. So until next time, be sure to follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or at LightningFigPR. And until then, oh wait, how could I forget about the codes? I didn't talk about the codes. Okay, this will be very quickly. As far as I'm aware, the three waves, the three regular waves of 4, should be the Canterbury Tale codes. I don't know who's who on the Canterbury Tale codes because I've seen listings and I've seen the codes. They should be one and the same, but I don't know who's Chaucer, who's Knights, who's any of that stuff. I'm sure we'll find out. But we had speculated that those were going to be the codes for the next 3 waves, and they should be from everything that I've been told and have seen. But I could be wrong. But we'll focus on that more when things start getting revealed and we see code names and everything. We'll be able to match stuff up, and that'll be what we talk about in the future. So, all right, back to the outro. All right, until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or at LightningFigPR. Definitely follow that one. And until then, I'll see you all in Lightning Storm. The series for Lightning always strikes twice. Now I gotta go run before Hasbro tracks me down.